All right, welcome back to Rated Radio. I'm Ray Zander.
And I'm Shane Wyndham.
This is Queen versus Styx.
Hope you're ready for a fight.
Roll the intro.
I keep thinking this episode, by the way, is something we pulled at random, but that's because the albums were randomized. So, yeah, not some follow-up episode. I guess we have talked about Queen before in Greatest Hits, right?
Yes, we talked about Queen in Greatest Hits, and we talked about him a little bit, Freddie Mercury, in the Very Gay special.
Okay.
We talked about Mercury there too, I think.
Probably talked about him. I don't know.
We talked about him. I don't think we covered him because we covered Freddie Mercury recently, didn't we?
I don't know. We probably
we covered a lot of music.
Like I said, I think we talked about him in some form or fashion, but yeah, and I'll add right there for a random nobody needs to know, nobody cares reason that my favorite autobiographical musical film, I'm pretty sure,
is Bohemian Rhapsody.
Yeah.
I agree. That movie was so well done. And we talked about this the last time we were together. I'm excited to show the oldest nephew.
Yeah.
I was watching it. I probably watched it less than a month ago, and I was sending him clips and even like not even how the story is, all of the actors that portrayed all of these real life people. I fully believed that these were the actual people, that they were just like this. I think Rami Malek did a wonderful job at portraying Freddie Mercury, and the transitions between the scenes, even like how the movie shows like they went on tour, like that sequence of like we went to Berlin and we went to Tokyo. Even just that gets me so pumped, and how they addressed the subject of his sexuality with such care, because they never talk about how he got it.
Yeah.
They imply it, but I think they allowed Mercury some respect at keeping that to himself, which he was a very private person.
I remember seeing the preview and thinking, this is going to be awful just because the teeth thing threw me. But then to actually sit down and watch it, which I'm not going to say I've seen it a bunch because I haven't, but I have seen
3 times.
Recently,
much.
I've had to look at all these movie ratings for no blank because I've been making, the thousands of movie rating cards for that Patreon.
Yeah.
But realizing, that's the best one. That's my favorite musical autobiographical film that I've seen so far.
Yeah.
I was just trying to say that real quickly before we got going here, even though we will be talking about Styx first. Yeah.
Yeah. So the first album that we covered by Styx is their Cornerstone album from 1979. I gave it 3 great tracks out of 9.
I thought 7 of them were great.
My bottom track was Boat on a River.
Why me?
And because I don't like to operate under any sort of rules or guidelines, my top tracks were Babe, Lights, and First Time.
Okay, so I really considered Babe for a top track, but eventually went with Borrowed Time.
Mm-hmm.
There were a few absolutely exquisite songs on this album.
Speaking of, how does the music make you feel?
Like I'm seeing a magic show on the 4th of July.
And how the music makes me feel like I'm a middle schooler in 1978 at her first boy-girl party in someone's musty basement.
Whoa.
Someone's gonna play 7 Minutes in Heaven.
You're gonna like this.
Yay. Okay.
By the way, I've been feeling weird again, reading all these long reviews. Like I know in post, when I get it done, it sounds good to me. I like the length, but sitting here reading it while you're just sitting over there having to listen to it, feels very strange to me. I feel way too long-winded.
Well, I also don't want to interject and cut you off because I don't want to throw you off. I know you have a vision for what you got to say, but don't do your thing, man.
Take nearly everything I hate away from ABBA, then find the middle ground between what's left and a prog group like Rush. That's where you find Styx's nerdy, theatrical, pop-laden rock and roll most at home. What's striking to me as someone who's heard a solid amount of Styx music, but hadn't heard this disc before in its entirety, is just how much of it could be subbed for some of their other hits, and you'd be hard-pressed to notice a difference in catchiness or quality. As cheese-tastic as a great majority of moments can feel, there's no denying either the emotional range or the musical competence on display here. The solos alone are worth sticking around for, and there's one in nearly every track. The one thing I noticed the outfit struggling with is endings. Instead of offering up renewed flair, they tend to toss all the pieces back together for one final bit of repetition. And I certainly don't think most snooty rock purists, the kind who, pit their entire reputations on Led Zeppelin being the leader of the pack now and forevermore, that those people will be into the shimmering glitter dancing off of this record. This is probably built more for folks who aren't put off by any of the wilderness between the likes of Def Leppard and Herman's Hermits. Something about it keeps me coming back to an ABBA comparison, not Blue Oyster Cult or even the Bee Gees, but ABBA, again, alongside Rush.
Camp.
Yeah, the sound is one I often enjoy and completely respect, but I'd be lying if I said it's always going to be the easiest to take seriously. There's an element of fun beneath even the grittiest of these sound surfaces, almost as though it's impossible for them to abandon a chuckle when the mood they're going for calls for precisely that. Yeah, you're good.
I was going to say another comparison off the cuff, since you say ABBA. I don't have it in my things, but Camp, Elton John.
Yeah, I could see.
There's a comparison there. Piano, glittery, disco influences.
There's
like
some sort of wizard rock vibe that I get off
whimsy.
of this. Yeah, whimsy.
I call it whimsy in my description.
I like that. The chuckle thing, though, it's an endearing quality which even Queen couldn't claim. It also makes them simultaneously memorable and recognizable both to a high degree. I wasn't expecting 9 tracks to pack so much unrelenting punch, but they really do. I may not think it's the highest of art, but I do think it's everything Electric Light Orchestra wished to be. If you have a favorite Adam Sandler movie and don't just hate all of them by default, you're going to dig this. Strange comparison, I realize, but trust me, it's fitting. And don't even get me started on how refreshing it is to find saxophone occasionally flexing in a rock group's music. Newcomers may find the disc a bit confusing at the outset. You'll be happy for sticking with it, though. Multiple vocalists, a shit ton of keys, trippy combinations of acoustics and electrics. It's a memorable ride, even if that doesn't make it an all-time favorite for me by default.
Been a long-time listener here. This romantically rocking band from the 1970s brings us rock techno whimsy with this album. I will forever be a fan of their classic vocal layering in songs. There is something about it that reminds me of car rides with my dad. Anyway, the piano and synthesizer add an extraterrestrial element while still remaining a bit grounded and folky. My complaint is I desired more ballads, less party rock. We get it, but lean into the love, guys. It's a strength of yours.
Yeah.
Well, we've talked about Styx. What do you say we, take a break?
For sure.
All right, Shane. So we covered a Billboard hit this week, and that Billboard hit was?
A song that needs no introduction, I'm sure, for most people. It's Fuck You Mean by Gunna.
And what did you think about it?
Tell me what you thought about it first.
All right. Well, Gunna. Oh, how have we heard this so many times before, and honestly better in most cases. This one-note trap track with clever lyrics comes from an artist currently 110th in the world on Spotify. You heard that right, 110th in the world. After rising to fame in 2016, I look forward to different from him because, babe, this ain't it. Oh, and an annoying ass, yeah, is not a beat. Get some less provocative noises, please.
You and your noise fixations cracks me up. It's crazy. Yeah. The notion of this being anywhere close to the top 100 songs of all time is strange, but I actually think it would be higher because there's a version that's slowed down.
That's better.
I don't necessarily know if it's better or worse. From memory, I don't recall.
Okay.
I would rather just listen to the normal one, but there's 2 versions that people listen to. So I'm sure if it was just one version, it'd be even higher in this ranking.
Okay.
Did you rate it?
That's disappointing. No, I didn't, but if I did, it would be a 4 for sure.
Okay.
I get the appeal, just does not stay long with me. Nah.
All right. This song 100% owes its fame to the producer of the instrumental the artist is rapping over. And when I say rapping here, what I really mean is trap rapping. Dude sounds like a slurring drunk that was asked to nervously read his bars in front of the class for the first time. The lyrics are so carelessly done that they don't even fit with what's popping up in the background to make this track so catchy. And I remain convinced that an instrumental version of this track would be way more popular than what we currently have. Nonetheless, the foundation Gunna's stumbling all over here is so ridiculously listenable that I can't be too mad at it. Reminds me of something you'd hear from Suicide Boys, and I very much am here for that aspect of what's on offer. Gunna's voice also isn't hard to digest. Much as I hate the lyrical delivery, I'll never not let this song play so that I can hear the beat. 5 out of 10 stars from me.
All right, well, this has been fun. Let's move our asses along and go talk about some Queen.
Oh, Queen. Queen, by the way, is the reason that this artist is here. They were recommended as one of the top 10 artists for 2 of our listeners. That'd be Brian and Kelly.
Brian and Kelly. All right, well.
Thank you kindly. If our co-host here hadn't already given us some Queen.
I always love giving people a little Queen. All right, so...
I'm going to stick with my Queen's Reich.
All right, that's fine. This is my Queen. You can have Queen's Reich. Although you might have to share custody with my father on the weekends.
Yeah, and his brother. I'm well aware. It's fine. At least
custody.
I know some people who love Queensryche.
3 men and a baby.
That's what matters.
All right. So the album that we covered by Queen was Made in Heaven from 1995. I gave it 4 great tracks out of 13.
I thought 6 were great.
My bottom track is You Don't Fool Me.
Yeah.
Wait, hold on.
Yeah, that's my bottom track in its entirety.
What I will say about You Don't Fool Me is someone called Tina Turner because this is Mercury's Private Dancer.
Okay.
All right. My top track was I Was Born to Love You.
The title track, Made in Heaven. Got a perfect 10 from me.
Ooh, very nice. How does the music make you feel, though?
Like death, might be blissful.
And I said, like I'm at a rock concert on Olympus.
And what'd you think about the album?
Well, Queen's 15th and final album recorded before Mercury's tragic death in 1991 brings us a larger-than-life sound with Made in Heaven. Mercury's vocals are godlike as he captures you with his powerful voice, followed by Brian May's shredding electric guitar with a classical flair. Roger and John hold everything steady with flow, but this angelic combination of sounds mostly lands with so many experimental sounds, but still has a thick layer of campy cheese, which is what I have come to expect from this Queen.
Sorry, this is where I speak, huh?
Yes, this is where you talk. Talk now, Shane.
This is a shockingly solid, non-cash-in posthumous release, a step above the average obligatory ones most of us are used to. The band tried like hell, but this does feel vocally incomplete in a lot of places, as well as repetitious at times, due to the limited material they were working with. The filler vocals also tend toward an unwelcome status on occasion. On the whole, though, it's Styx meets Pink Floyd in their momentary lapse of reason era. Quirks include obvious borrowing from Dusty Springfield's Take Another Little Piece of My Heart, and the I Was Born to Love You song sounding a lot like another earlier Sunny Queen song. Still, I found this spin to be quite gripping and moving in its majority. The decision to end the album with a lengthy instrumental piece is a good one as well, as it provides voiceless time and space to truly contemplate the fact that these are heartbroken musicians doing their best to highlight the emptiness their worlds are left with now that their friend is dead. While the instrumental does stretch too long and have some mistimed bits, it's one of those rare moments of experimentation having something to say without a single thing being sung. Just some sparse speech to cut through the vibrating wall of float. I contend that Mercury would have found this effort touching, fitting, and well executed. A beautiful homage to his final musical wishes. It's got flaws, but is an honest labor of love, which I think every Queen fan should hear all the way through at least once.
All right.
I got nothing to add there. Please like or subscribe if you're still listening. And remember, you can send us all kinds of feedback to rated_radio@yahoo.com.
All right, Shane. So with that, who took it for you this week?
That's a good question. I'm sorry, they're on 2 different pages here. So.
Okay. You're thorough. We get it.
I actually wasn't prepared. It's Styx.
Okay, I'm not surprised.
Styx for me. Yeah.
It was very close between Queen and Styx for me, but Queen ultimately took it. So I love Styx. I always have seen them twice. Will forever be a Styx girl. I think they're one of the most underrated bands of all time. They don't get I don't meet enough Styx fans, young Styx fans. And I really do think that they should have more of a listener following than what they do. Queen is Queen. Queen will always be Queen.
Queen is Queen. I think you know what to expect. I think if you hit Styx as someone who isn't used to a lot of non-radio Styx, even if you're used to the radio Styx at this point, you don't realize just how like dorky.
It's a little silly.
You know,
it's definitely a little silly. There's cheese. We talk about it, but there's also cheese with Queen.
It's ABBA without the psychosis.
Listen to Body Language by Queen. Tell me that thing is not slathering in cheese. Just as much cheese as Styx.
But the thing is, so all Styx songs that I've heard at this point have some level of cheese factor to them. There's something.
The glittery.
They can't not break their own moods by throwing in something like that. Queen, on the other hand, you have songs like Who Wants to Live Forever, The Show Must Go On. Those don't have these,
yes. No, I see what you
mood-breaking moments.
Yeah.
It's like there's a class clown in Styx that just can't
be serious.
Help themselves. Yes.
As much as they try, they can't
be
serious.
They hold it together a lot.
Mm-hmm.
So
Queen's a theater nerd that can do both.
Yeah, and
do it well.
The Styx keys also, they have like this purposely nerd rock vibe to them. It reminds me of Revenge of the Nerds. Like some of the even though Queen was on that soundtrack. Yeah.
It's that.
Yeah, but super talented. Super fucking talented.
Two great bands here. This was a good listen. I remember looking at Blue and being like, this is a good episode. Like this was fun. Regardless of if it was the best from either artist, it was still a really good listen this week.
I do think it's interesting that you can throw the Made in Heaven album, which is not at the peak of Queen's, and it's after Mercury's died that it's completed.
Not Night at the Opera. I think Night at the Opera is one of their highest rated ones.
But it's still, and they've got a shit ton of albums. It still sits side by side with Cornerstone, which is not the most well-received Styx album of all time, but they go toe to toe. They're in their prime.
Yeah, I get it. But I think I had a lot of fun this week, and any excuse to listen to either one of these artists, I'm totally down for. So that's going to do it for now.
Until next time, fill your world with music.